I'm doing great. Happy Thursday. We
Yes,
can hear
sir.
you. We can see you. We can hear you and we can see you, sir.
Gotcha. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Can you do me a huge favor? Question mark.
To order. Can we do a roll, please?
Miranda. Here. Maniscalco. Here. Hertek. Here. Young. Here. Vieira.
Here.
Carlson. Clendenin.
Here.
We have a physical quorum.
Thank you. As you can see, Councilman Vieira is virtual.
I move to allow Councilman Vieira to participate virtually this evening.
I second.
Well, shush you. We have a motion from Councilwoman Hertek, a second from Councilman Maniscalco to allow Councilman Vieira's virtual participation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Okay. Councilwoman Hertek, you want to start working on the agenda?
Yeah, I can go ahead.
I mean, you can do that, and let the record show that Councilman Carlson has joined us. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Collins.
Danny Collins with your Planning Commission staff. Item 3 on your agenda, that's TACPA 2517. This is an amendment that was continued from the January 29th public hearing. The Planning Commission staff, we are the applicant of this amendment. We're requesting a continuance to the April 23rd public hearing, and this is to allow more time for us to meet with the neighborhood on the proposed amendment.
Okay. We have a motion from Councilman Miranda, a second from Councilman Maniscalco to continue item 3 to April 23rd, 2026. All those in favor say aye.
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 5:01 p.m. 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, Tampa, Florida 33602.
We might as well.
On a continuation? Not on a continuation, yeah. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Also, for item number 1, we have a letter from the applicant requesting that item to be continued to April 23rd, 2026. Councilwoman Hurtak?
I will just say, my aide, Kelly Sharp, has been on the phone with multiple neighbors about this today, in just the last couple of hours, because this was done so late. So, I just wanted to say that there's been email back and forth about this, but, I mean, obviously I do want this continued, but the neighborhood was very concerned because they didn't hear anything.
Well,
And some of them have had to show up tonight because of it.
Well, I will say that, it's my understanding, Mr. Collins has been involved in that neighborhood outreach as well, and noticing the meetings, and also that they've been involved. They have been doing that, because I've been in briefings for that as well. So
Okay.
not only staff, but also the applicant is, and our staff has been taking the lead on that, so.
I move to continue file TA CPA 25-15 to April 26th, 23rd, 2026 at 5:01 p.m., 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, Tampa, Florida, 33602, third floor.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Hurtak, a second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
There might be some people here to speak on the continuation.
No, we don't have to take comments on continuation. Okay, and then also on item number 5, we have a request from the applicant to withdraw that. Can I get a motion to withdraw that from the? We have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, a second from Councilman Miranda, to remove item number 5 from the agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. That leaves us with, count them, 1, 2
Motion to approve the
items.
agenda.
We have a motion to approve the item from Councilwoman Hurtak, a second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. We have a motion to open all public hearings from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. First item is non-quasi judicial, number 2.
Danny Collins, with your Planning Commission staff. Item 2 is file number TA CPA 2516. This is a map amendment for the site located at 1301 East Columbus Drive. The request is privately initiated, it's small scale in size. It's approximately 0.24 acres, and the request is to change the future land use from residential 20 to the residential 35 designation. The subject site is located in the central Tampa Planning District. It is shown here on our locational map. The site is within the East Tampa Urban Village, and specifically it's in the VM Ybor neighborhood, and it's also within the Ybor City Local Historic District. Because it is within the local historic district, it went to the Barrio Latino Commission, I believe it was December 16th, where they had a favorable recommendation for this amendment. The subject site is located at the southeast corner of East Columbus Drive and East 13th Avenue. Currently, there's a contributing structure that's located on the subject site. There is a mix of residential uses, including some office uses along East Columbus Drive. There is some CMU 35 and some public, semi-public uses northeast of the subject site. Here is an image of the subject site from East Columbus Drive. This is looking east along East Columbus Drive. The subject site is on our right. This is looking west along East Columbus Drive. The subject site is on the left. It's another image looking east at the side courtyard of the subject site. This is looking south the subject site along North 13th Street. So the subject site, including parcels to the north, sorry, let me fix this, to the northeast, south, and west of the subject site is surrounded by the residential, or is designated as residential 20 and surrounded by the residential 20. That category allows for a residential development up to 20 dwelling units per acre. It allows the consideration of neighborhood serving commercial uses subject to meeting locational criteria. One block to the east of the subject site, we have some CMU 35 designated parcels here, and then just approximately 2 blocks northeast of the subject site, we have the recreation open space designation. The request is to amend the future land use category to the residential 35 designation, which is similar to the residential 20 designation. However, it allows up to 35 dwelling units per acre. This is a map showing the proposed future land use of residential 35. Again, you have residential 20 to the north, south, east, and west, and then CMU 35, 1 block to the east. So currently under the residential 20 designation, the subject site can be considered for a maximum of 4 dwelling units, or just under 21,000 square feet of neighborhood serving commercial uses, subject to meeting locational criteria. As proposed under the residential 35 designation, the subject site can be considered for a maximum of 8 dwelling units, or just under 21,000 square feet of non-residential uses subject to meeting locational criteria. So this amendment, as you can see, would increase the density that could be considered on the subject site from 4 units to 8 units. We sent this out to our partner reviewing agencies. We received no objections to the request. The City of Tampa staff had no objections. This went to the Planning Commission back in November of last year, and the Planning Commission found the request consistent with a number of policies in the comprehensive plan, specifically those related to neighborhood character and compatibility. This site is located within an urban village where that's, this site's located on a transit emphasis corridor. That's an area where the comprehensive plan supports redevelopment and intensification. Also it is 1 block west of CMU 35, which is a category that allows medium density mixed-use development. The Planning Commission found it consistent with those policies related to compatibility. It was an appropriate area for increased density. Additionally, it was found consistent with policies related to ensuring there's an adequate supply of housing in the city. The comprehensive plan directs the greatest share of growth to the urban villages, and this request would allow additional density and housing within an urban village. And based on those considerations, the Planning Commission found the request consistent with the City of Tampa comprehensive plan. And that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Does council have any questions? Hearing none. Applicant? Good evening. If you start with your name, please.
Hi, good afternoon all. First name is Maynor, last name Perea, P-E-R-E-A. I am with Bayshore Group. I'm one of the managing members. So I'm here for any formal questions or any comments that you guys may have for this particular property.
Very good. Anything else to add to the presentation?
No, I think it was very thorough as far as, you know, what we're wanting to do with the property and the use.
Very good. Council have questions? Councilwoman Hurtak.
Are you basically trying to vest what's there?
Correct. We're wanting to make any modifications inside the building. We understand that it's a historic structure. We're not wanting to make any modifications or any alterations. We just want to be able to make modifications inside the space.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Hearing none. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak to this item? We have a motion to close from Councilman Miranda. We have a second from Councilman Maniscalco. CTTV, can I get Councilman Vieira back up on the monitors, please? There you are. Okay, we got you. Okay, all those in favor of closing, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Councilman Carlson, can you read item number 2, please?
Move item number 2, file number TACPA 25-16, ordinance being presented for first reading consideration, ordinance amending the Tampa Comprehensive Plan, future land use element, future land use map for the property located at 1301 East Columbus Avenue from residential 20 R20 to residential 35 R35, providing for repeal of all ordinances and conflict, providing for severability, providing effective date.
We have a motion from Councilman Carlson, a second from Councilman Maniscalco. Roll call, please.
Maniscalco?
Yes.
Hurtek?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Vieira?
Yes.
Carlson? Miranda? Clendenin.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried unanimously. Second reading and adoption will be held on March 26, 2026 at 10 a.m. at Old City Hall, located at 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida, 33602.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Very good. Thank you. Have a good night. Okay, we are now moving on to item number 4, which is a quasi-judicial proceeding. If you are here to testify on behalf of on item number 4, please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in by our clerk. Yeah, I guess. Remember, this is the same one. Okay, very good. Mr. Cotton?
Eric Cotton, Development Coordination. This is a continued public hearing from September of 2025. This is the facility is called Urban Air at 6250 Commerce Palms Drive. If council recalls, we had a suspension hearing. The representative from Urban Air was here, and she indicated that they were not a restaurant. That's what their alcohol was approved for. She also indicated she was going to come back in and apply to become a small venue, because what her classification should have been from the beginning. As of now, she has not. Nobody from Urban Air has come in to apply. Staff's recommending 30-day suspension.
Okay. Does council have any questions? Is there an applicant in the room that wishes to speak to this item? Is there an applicant here? Okay.
Could you just state for the record?
That we have asked if there was an applicant for item number 4 present in city council chambers. I got no response.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, very good. So staff has recommended a 30-day suspension
Yes, sir.
on item number 4. And how would you like that to be presented?
It's just a motion. Just a motion, starting with a start date and an end date. To give staff time to react, it'd be probably about 5 days.
Would you suggest a couple dates for us, please?
Recommendation.
Today's the 26th?
Yes. Do you want to go for the
Maybe
first to
next
make it
Wednesday,
easy?
maybe next Wednesday, March 4th? March 5th is? Yeah.
March.
So March 4th, that'll give us a chance for TPD to go out and post the property for an S for to go out and send the certified letter saying that they've been posted.
So the motion would be to effective March 4th at 12:01 a.m. to suspend the liquor license at the location that's specified in the file number here for 30 days, starting on the March 4th at 12:01.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And-
who would like to give that a shot?
Do you want an address?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir. I mean, yes, ma'am.
the address?
And state the end date too as well, please.
It's 6250 Commerce Palms Drive, and the AB number, so we can specify which AB is being suspended, is AB 120-24.
120-24.
And the end date would be from March 4th at 12:01 to April 2nd at 11:59 p.m.
11:59 p.m. or 23:59. Okay, you want to give it a shot? Councilwoman Hurtak.
Sure.
Would you like to-
Due to the failure of the applicant,
Okay, hold on a second. Can I get a motion to close the public hearing? Move to close, second. Motion to
do we
close.
have anybody that wants to speak from the public?
Was there anybody in the public who wants to speak to this item? No. Okay, motion to close from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay.
Okay, Councilman Hurtak, sorry.
Due to the failure of Urban Air located at 6250 Commerce Palms Drive to comply with the requirements of section 27-319 of the City of Tampa Code of Ordinances, I move to suspend the alcohol license AB 120-24 from March 4th at 12:01 a.m. 2026 for 30 days until April 2nd, 2026, 11:59 p.m.
We have a motion from Councilwoman Hurtak, a second from Councilman Miranda. Roll call, please.
Hurtak,
Yes.
Young, Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson, Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco, Clendenin.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried unanimously.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it is 5:23 PM and we started 6 minutes late and we have concluded regular business of this Tampa. Is this a record? It's been a record since I've served on council.
You can be chairman for one more week.
One more week. Okay, good. Well, bad, I don't know. Okay, that concludes regular business. We are now open to new business. Councilman Carlson. Okay, Councilman Young, I know you had something.
I did. I had two motions that I was going to make, but I did end up speaking with staff, so got that cleared away. So I just wanted to share a few things. I had the opportunity to meet with all of the Divine Nine presidents, which was very nice. You know, we've had all of the Divine Nine have been in Tampa, and it was just so nice to hear them talk about just how much they've had such a great time here and how they felt so welcome to come to Tampa. So that was very nice. I also did a tour of the West River Walk in West Tampa on Main Street and saw some progress that's on Rome Yard. I also attended the Brain Bowl at D.W. Waters, which actually inside of the school, there's a Jefferson High School historic museum inside of D.W. Waters, so that was actually very cool. Charlie, you came to mind while we were in there. I attended the Fiesta Day on 7th Avenue, which was an awesome event. And it was just so great to see everyone out and enjoying their time. Also, for Black History Month, there was the Black Love Classic Series at the Tampa Theater, and each Sunday they were playing a classical movie, and they were featuring different nonprofits. So the last one was on Sunday, and they had the Links Foundation there, so that was also very nice. And the movie was Carmen Jones. If you haven't had the popcorn at Tampa Theater, I don't know if I was really hungry or if it's just really good, but it was really nice to take part in that. And then also at Hannah Center, there was we did 10 historic markers dedication and unveiling, which was very nice. And then yesterday, I attended the Tampa Heights Civic Association in the Robles Park Village redevelopment. There was a presentation on that, which was very nice. I think it was very well attended. And so we had Ducon and AAA Builders who were doing the demolition. They were there to explain their process. And we just talked about the relocation of the residents and the residents having, the opportunity to return back to Robles Park Village, and returning residents will have assistance and relocation support if they want to come back and move back to the neighborhood. It's going to be about 1,800 new units, and then we also talked about the Zion Cemetery. It's going to be a memorial cemetery park. So it was a very nice update. So that's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hurtak. Councilman Maniscalco.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion, request by the Planning Commission setting an adoption hearing for TACPA 24-04, TACPA 24-05, and TACPA 24-06 on May 28, 2026 at 5:01 p.m. and direct the legal department to provide the city clerk with the form of notice for advertising the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilwoman Hurtak. I guess we need to do a roll call for this one, then. No? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Councilman Miranda?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I have two. I would like to make a motion to present a combination of the Tampa Water Department acknowledging Water Conservation Month of April 2026. The presentation would take place at City Council meeting on March 26, 2026, if possible.
Did we look at the schedule? Are we good?
I haven't looked.
What's the date again?
March 26.
March 26.
We have FDOT, and then we have
Okay, we have two.
USF, and then an FDOT president.
This will take no more than 5 minutes.
I was going to say, if you just make sure they restrict it to 10, or no more than 10. Okay. Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Miranda, second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
I would like to make a motion to present a combination of the Tampa Water Department acknowledging Drinking Water Week, May 3rd to May 9th, 2026. This presentation will take place at City Council meeting on April 16th, 2026, if possible.
Do we make any motions earlier for April 16th?
Not for boards, accommodations, will be accommodations on that day? I don't think so. I don't believe so.
No, it looks okay. Just board appointments.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion from Councilman Miranda, second from Councilman Maniscalco. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Is that it?
Good night.
Councilman Pro Tem.
Okay, Chair. Oh, yeah, Vier.
Oh, Councilman Vieira, sorry do you have any new business? No. I don't read
Out on
lips.
April
There you go.
20
Say again.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, yes, sir. To inform council, I will be out on April 23rd as I will be in Sunrise, Florida, watching Bruce Springsteen with special guest Tom Morello. Looking forward.
Ooh,
That's a good
that's a
excuse
good
to miss
one.
it.
Tom Morello.
I will actually forgive you for
Love Rage.
leaving us on that day to be able to
Yeah.
go to see Bruce Springsteen. So
Oh, no,
that-
definitely Tom Morello. Rage Against the Machine, are you kidding? Amazing, amazing band.
I'm going to try to give him a city council commendation. I'll see if he accepts it from the stage. We'll see, but.
Awesome, awesome.
how many are you going to print?
I would if I could, trust me. He's my hero.
I
Bruce Springsteen.
have some young fangirl joke about the Beatles in there somewhere, but I'll refrain.
Okay.
But nothing. Thank you, council. Thank
Okay,
you.
very good. Per our conversation this morning, I would like to make motion to direct the clerk to remove any recurring agenda items that have been appearing on the agenda for 12 months or longer and continue to do this going forward with any recurring agenda items.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Chair Clendenin, a second from Councilmember Miranda. Any comment? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Anything else?
That's it. Yes, go ahead.
Councilmember Vieira, I think you ought to actually do that. I think you ought to ask for a accommodation that includes an invitation to come to Tampa. I think if it included an invitation to come to Tampa, it would be justified. And then you could call them and try to set it up and see if you get a picture with them.
I would if I could. So when he started his tour in 23, you got me started, right? In Tampa, I wrote an article in Creative Loafing on Bruce Springsteen with the direct intent of trying to get it to him to see if I could meet him. Didn't work out, but I will get him one day.
We're still trying to get Doja Cat here, right? It sounds like.
I mean, but yeah. I mean, Tom Morello might come here.
Doja, I thought it was Doja Cat.
He was coming to the Ybor Ritz. Tom Morello was actually coming to the Ybor Ritz, and he canceled it for this tour, whatever it's worth. So I'm also seeing David Lee Roth and maybe we can get him to come for a commendation. I'm joking, but actually I am. So,
Oh my gosh!
you know.
How much longer are you going to be with City Council? You have that much time to get to Bruce Springsteen to Tampa.
I know,
You have a
right?
deadline.
Yeah, but that's the only one on Thursday.
Now, if
The
you
other-
get into
other one-
Tallahassee, I'm going to be really ticked off. Okay. Okay. Very good. Okay. Well, that concludes our regularly scheduled program. Hearing no other business,
Move to receive and
we have a
file.
motion to receive and file from Councilman Miranda, a second from Councilman Carlson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. We are adjourned. Yeah.
We're meeting with